So for this last part, let's talk about nutrigenomics and diet therapy. Nutrigenomics is the science studying the relationship between human genome, nutrition, and health. So nutritional genetics is a field of science that identify how genetic variation affects our response to nutrients and how the nutrient affects gene. So this is the field of science that is the basis in offering personalized nutrition based on an individual's genetic makeup. So for example, if our patient is an ApoE homozygote with a single nuclear polymorphism, tapos nag-intake siya ng diet na mataas sa polyunsaturated fatty acid over saturated fatty acid ratio. But in the long run, this could cause a decrease in LDL, while the same diet for ApoE heterozygotes with single nuclear polymorphisms would cause an increase in LDL cholesterol. So nagkaroon ng difference or variation sa response to the nutrient consumed because of the variations in the gene. So another example is folate supplementation. So we know that folic acid supplementation is essential for pregnant women in order to prevent neural tube defects and decrease level of homocysteine to lower risk for heart disease. So methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase is an enzyme that produces 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is required for the conversion of homocysteine to methionine. So what happens is that kapag mayroong cytosine and thymine substitution in the gene that encodes for 5,10-methyl tetrahydrofolate, nagkakaroon ng substitution from valine to alanine. And this substitution causes lower enzyme activity and reduced stability. So kahit na meron kang folate supplementation, it could not give the desired level of effect for the pregnant woman or for the patient to whom you subscribe the folate supplement. Okay, next let's talk about nutritional epigenetics. So epigenetics study the changes in organisms caused by modification of gene expression rather than alteration of genetic code itself. So kanina yung ating nutritional genetics, it focuses on the alteration of genetic code. But our nutritional epigenetics describes nutrient-induced changes in DNA methylation, histone, post-translational modifications, and other chromatin alterations. So, bibigyan lang tayo ng example. Kunwari, itong mga nutrients na nakaka-apekto sa DNA and RNA methylation ay folate, vitamin B12, choline, and methionine. So, the level of these nutrients in our body could affect DNA and RNA methylation. Okay, next is nutritional transcriptomics. So, this describes the effect of nutrients on transcriptome. So, the transcriptome is actually the set of all RNA transcripts, including coding and non-coding, in an individual or a population of cells. So, ano ba yung mga examples? For example, our vitamin D and our vitamin D, they bind to their own nuclear receptors and they also bind to antioxidant vitamins. So, they could have an effect in redox signaling mechanisms. Iron deficiency anemia or IDA causes an increased expression of iron transport protein for mobilization. Vitamin C increases iron absorption, and vitamin E supplementation has a positive effect on prevention of CVD. So, medyo mga general na examples to, yung mismong mechanisms on how all this happens ay may discuss natin sa vitamins and minerals. Okay, so we're done with nutrigenomics. Let's now focus on diet therapy. So, diet therapy is the application of nutrition in maintaining health in healthy individuals and for those with diseases. So, therapeutic diets, ito yung mga diet na for specific clinical conditions, especially when diet planning is a crucial part of treatment. So, pwede na yung mga diet na to, meron silang mga specific na restrictions, especially when the disease is caused or aggravated by a specific nutrient. So, for example, for phenylketonuria, ang ating diet ay phenylalanine restricted diet para hindi na ma-aggravate palalo yung symptoms ng patient. So, for most kidney disorders, we limit sodium and phosphorus, and for celiac disease, gluten-free diet. So, general examples lang to kung ano ba yung mga halimbawa ng ating mga therapeutic diets. So, what are the dietary tools that we use? So, we have two of these dietary tools are the food exchange list and the food composition table. So, the food exchange list is one of the most basic tools in applied nutrition therapy. It is a tool used for basic meal planning, diet instruction, and estimating the energy and macronutrient contents of diets. So, ang ginagawa ng food exchange list, para siyang, actually, it's a book. It's a book and nakalagay doon yung mga food groups. Tapos, kung ano yung mga food items under each food group and their corresponding energy and macronutrient content. Macronutrient as in carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Next is our food composition table. Our food composition table is a tool that contains numerical values indicating the total amount of constituents in food items. So, kung yung ating food exchange list, ang laman lang niya ay energy and macronutrients, yung food composition table, nandun na lahat ng nutrient. Gaya ng pati fiber, nandun na rin. Andun na rin ating vitamin A, pati yung ating mga minerals. Vitamin A, vitamin E, lahat na nandun. So, this tool is used for more stringent meal planning and usually used for therapeutic diets. Lalo na kung kunwari, kaya na-mention kanina, for kidney disorders, we monitor sodium and phosphorus as well. So, kapag ganon, we focus on using the food composition table instead of just the food exchange list kasi yung mga macronutrients lang yung laman niya. So now let's focus on the food exchange list. So when we say exchanges and servings, related sila na concepts but they're different. So a serving is the amount of food that one person can consume in one meal. So kunwari, ang isang serving ng meat ay dalawang matchbox size, yung size ng box ng posporo. So, that means na yung tao, kaya niyang kumain ng ganong karaming meat sa isang kainan. While when we talk about exchanges, this refers to the amount of food containing a specified amount of nutrients. So, kung for meat, ang one exchange ng meat ay 30 grams of cooked meat or one matchbox size. So, one exchange yon. Pero if you think in serving, yung dalawa na kinain na in one serving, that's one serving, but that's equal to 2 exchanges. We'll talk about this more. So, pag sinabi natin one exchange of vegetable A, ito yung mga sakop ng mga food items. We have ampalaya, bagyo beans, banana heart, and all those food items. So, kapag sinabi natin one exchange, that means 1/2 cup cooked vegetable A. Ganon din kapag vegetable B, 1/2 cup cooked din ng mga food items naman ng mga to. So, kunwari, sinabi natin that the patient has to consume one exchange of fruit. So, ito yung mga options ng mga fruits na pwede niya i-consume. So, pwede na 1 piece of banana or 10 small pieces of grapes or 1/4 cup of strawberry. So, ito pa yung may batang example. For rice, ang one exchange ng rice ay 1/2 cup or 80 grams. Tapos, kunwari for meat, medium fat meat, we have 1 piece of egg. For sugar, 1 teaspoon of sugar ang one exchange. Tapos, for fat naman, 1 teaspoon then of fat or 5 grams ang one exchange natin. So, eto siya. So, that means every exchange of these food items, of these food groups, contain this amount of macronutrients and calories. So, kunwari, ang one exchange of vegetable B, di ba? Ang one exchange of vegetable B natin ay 1/2 cup of cooked vegetable B. So, that contains 3 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of protein, wala siyang fat, and then 16 calories. Hindi natin isa-isahin, pero i-highlight natin kung ano important. Gaya ng rice. So, 1/2 cup of rice, one exchange of rice, or 1/2 cup of rice contains 23 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of protein, walang fat, and that would equal to 100 calories. Actually, kapag kailangan na siyang kabisaduhin, pwede mo nang hindi rin kabisaduhin yung calories as long as alam mo yung carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Tas i-times mo na lang na kunwari 23 times 4. Tas yung answer is i-add mo sa 2 times 4 kasi 4 calories per gram ng protein tas 4 calories per gram ng carbohydrates. Then 9 calories per gram of fat. Okay, so later we will see how we actually use the food exchange list. But now we'll talk more about the steps in diet calculation. So, the steps in diet calculation for maintaining our desirable body weight. First of all is, of course, to estimate the desirable body weight. So, meron tayong iba't ibang methods when it comes to this. Pwedeng gagamit ka ng standard tables like the FNRI standard weight for Filipinos or the PDRI or Philippine Dietary Reference Intake. So, these are based on weight for height ratios ng mga Filipino. So, kunwari, tingnan natin, for adults, age 19-29 na lalaki, 60.5 ang kanyang desirable body weight. But for women, ang desirable body weight niya ay 52.5. Although, we do not actually use this standard table, lalo na because we want our recommendations or diet calculation to be really individualized to the client kasi baka yung 52.5 ay masyadong mababa na weight for other Filipinos, especially na kapag matangkad or athletic yung build. Another formula is the NDAP formula. So, ang gagawin mo lang dito, nakaset na siya na for males which stand 5 feet, 112 pounds yung kanyang desirable body weight. So, and for every inch above 5 feet, mag-a-add ka ng 4 pounds. And for every inch below 5 feet, mag-minus ka ng 4 pounds. Tapos, ganun din for females, but the set weight is 106 pounds for 5 feet, tapos minus 4 pounds for every inch above or below 5 feet. Okay, next is the Tannhauser's or Broca method. Ito yung actually yung ginagamit talaga natin when it comes to calculating for the desirable body weight. So, gagawin mo lang, kukunin mo yung height ng patient in centimeters, then minus 100. Yung makukuha mong sagot, kukunin mo yung 10% niya, tapos i-deduct mo. Kasi yung 10%, it is a correction to account for Filipino stature. So, how do we use this? So, for example, the patient is a sedentary Filipino female with a height of 5'1". So, that's 154.94 centimeters. Sabi natin, minusan natin ng 100. So, pag minusan natin ng 100, that's 54.94. Now, let's get the 10% of 54.94. Pag kinuha mo yon and then you subtract that to 54.94, the resulting value is 49.95 or 50 kilograms. So that means the desirable body weight of the patient is 50 kilograms. Pero meron tayong tinatawag din na desirable body weight range. So that is plus or minus 5 kilograms. So yung desirable body weight range ng patient is 45 to 55 kilograms. Kasi naset natin siya na 50 kilograms. Then, minus 5, 45, and plus 5, 55 kilograms. Okay, the next step is to determine the reasonable total energy allowance for the individual. So, nagawa natin to before. Papakita natin ngayon paano natin siya ina-apply talaga when it comes to diet calculation. So, nakita natin kanina na yung desirable body weight ng ating patient ay 49.5 kilograms. So, 49.5 kilograms, 49.5 kilograms, at tapos kunwari ang patient natin ay sedentary, so yung kanyang physical activity factor ay 30. So, times lang natin ulit. 49.5 kilograms times 30, that's 1,485 calories. So, that means that the patient needs to consume 1,485 calories to maintain 49.5 kilograms. Pero actually, kapag nag-recommend na tayo ng calories, we round it up to the nearest, round it up or round it down to the nearest 50. So, in this case, this should be 1,500 calories to maintain 49.5 kilograms of weight. Mahalaga lang dito sa part na to, nakabisado natin yung physical activity factor and we know how to categorize the patient. The third step is to determine the macronutrient distribution. The macronutrient distribution varies depending on the conditions of the patient and their usual food intake and for their physical activity. Sometimes for athletes, we recommend higher protein intake. So, nag-iiba yung percentage ng ating macronutrients. But our standard is 65% for carbohydrates, 15% for protein, and then 20% for fat. So, kunwari, the desirable body weight of our patient is 50 kilograms, tapos siya ay sedentary, so that's 50 times 30. So, ang kanyang total energy allowance to maintain 50 kilograms would be 1,500 calories. So, times lang natin yung 1,500 calories with the macronutrient percentages. So, carbohydrates, 1,500 calories times 0.65, that would be 975 calories. And then we have 225 calories for protein and 300 calories for fat. Okay, so now that we know how much macronutrients should be consumed by the patient, let's calculate the number of grams of macronutrients. Kasi hindi natin pwedeng sabihin lang sa patient na mag-consume ka ng ganitong amount of calories from carbohydrates, ganitong amount of calories from protein, then ganitong amount of calories from fat. We have to convert it into grams para medyo mas tangible yung concept at ma-apply ng patient in their real life. So, we divide the calories allotted by its corresponding fuel value. So, alam natin na yung ating carbohydrates ay 4 calories per gram, protein ay 4, and fat is 9 calories per gram. So, yung na-compute natin kanina, 975 calories divided by 4, that's 245 grams. Then, for protein, we have 56.2 grams, and then for fat, we have 35 grams. So, ngayon na naka-grams na siya, we will make it into a diet prescription. So, as mentioned before, we round off or we round up the calories to the nearest 50 calories. So, for example, if it's 2,135 calories, we say that the patient needs to consume 2,150 calories. And we round off or up the macronutrients to the nearest 5 grams. So, yung 56.2 for protein, siya ay 55 na lang. So, parang isipin mo na lang kung saan siya mas malapit, kung sa 55 or sa 60. So, malapit sa 55, so that's 55. So, in the end, our diet prescription is 1,500 calories, 245 grams of carbohydrates, and 55 grams of protein with 35 grams of fat. Yun. So, actually, yung trans natin, nag-end na siya with this part. Pero, I want to show how we could translate our diet prescription into the food exchange list. So, we remember that every one exchange of these food groups contain this amount of macronutrients or calories. So, basically, if we figure out or i-calculate mo lang how much exchanges of each food group should you allow para ma-meet mo yung diet prescription? So, I made one. Eto. So, kung kunwari, our patient, 1,500 calories, 245 grams of carbohydrates, 55 grams of protein, and then 35 grams of fat. So, I allowed 2 exchanges of vegetable A, 3 exchanges of vegetable B, 3 exchanges of fruit, 1 exchange of low-fat milk, 7 exchanges of rice, 3 exchanges of low-fat meat, 1 for medium-fat meat, 4 fat exchanges, and 6 sugar exchanges. So, kapag na-figure out mo na gano'ng karami exchanges, yun, ita-times mo siya sa kung ano ba or gaano ba karaming macronutrients yung laman ng each food group. So, kung kunwari, naisip ko, I should allow 3 fruit exchanges. And we know that our fruit contains 10 carbohydrates, tapos 40 calories. So, that's 3 times 10. So, that's 30, and then 3 times 40. And so, that's 120. Pag tinali mo silang lahat, the carbohydrates, protein, fat, and calories should equal to our diet prescription. So, for this part, ang total carbohydrates ay 242 grams. Ang total protein ay 57 grams. Ang total fat ay 34 grams. While the total calories is 1,502. Okay. So, konting notes lang din. When we're thinking about the number of exchanges, ang recommended na number for healthy population ito. For healthy population, ang recommended na number of exchanges for fruit ay 3 to 4 exchanges. For sugar ay 6 to 9. And for fat ay... Actually, that's it. And for vegetables pala, it should at least be equal to 3 to 6 exchanges. Meron pang mas specific na process into doing these exchanges, but I just wanted to show paano ba natin ina-apply food exchange list na na-discuss before to our diet calculation. So, that's it, guys. So, thank you for bearing with me. So, if you have any clarifications, questions, or kung meron ako hindi masyadong na-discuss na maayos, feel free to message me. Thank you!